welcome to ISFJ. Um, you guys are right up there with ISTJ as kind of like um, the two most common types of the 16. So you guys are very important to society as a whole because you make up a majority. So um, these are going to be characteristics that you should see in a lot of people around you. Most of us know at least a few ISFJs, ISTJs because they are so common. Um, and yeah, so and a lot of people could relate to this just because those qualities are kind of within all of us in a sense, if that makes sense. Yeah. um, but ISFJs are honestly, they're very hardworking, pretty devoted, just like the ISTJs. There's not a lot of difference except for the feeling. Um, the feeling is the main function that's different. So whereas an ISTJ is going to give you something that's more factually based or more scientific, like a theory kind of based, an ISFJ is going to respond based on emotions because they have extroverted feeling for their second function. They lead with introverted sensing, so they it's kind of like this weird mixture because um, sensing and feeling almost like to me are two different things. Like I feel like feeling is kind of more of an intuitive thing, but it's technically not. Sensing is like applying um, like society structures and laws and things that have been established over time to situations, and then you take feeling, and so then you have to when you take feeling, you're looking at an individual situation and how someone's responding to that emotionally, and so that's different in every situation. It's not just you can't just use this answer that's always worked, in times past. It's kind of like situational. And so to me, I feel like that's why intuition and feeling kind of goes more hand in hand as opposed to sensing and feeling. And I can talk more about that in the ESFJ video because I do have some examples of a friend of mine. She's an ESFJ, and it's kind of a weird mixture, honestly. Even though they are so common, to me it just doesn't always make sense. But yeah, ISFJs, very caring. These are people that really do try to know people well. They are the best gift givers, and I actually, when I was reading up on the ISFJ, a lot of it resonated with me as an INFJ because our two central functions, which are extroverted feeling and introverted thinking, are in the same spot for INFJ and ISFJ. So that combination is still there, and then the outer twos are reversed, and they're introverted and extroverted are switched. So that's a little different. Um, but yeah, I was just like, I always try to find little quirks about people and kind of use that knowledge to um, um, kind of like appeal to their interests sometimes, or to like, kind of like be more personal, like interact a little more personally, as opposed to just like bland small talk. I'll try to remember like their favorite movie or what they were wearing one day, or something they said they wanted way back when, and use it as a gift option. I love doing that. So that's very similar as an INFJ. It's kind of finding a little more specific details as opposed to just broad. You know what I mean? So these are more detail-oriented people, ISFJs, and we couldn't do without them because they make up such a large portion. Um, they are a lot of times found in the medical field because they are so caring. You'll see a lot of feelers in the medical field. I guess thinkers could be scientific too, but medical is more about caring for somebody as opposed to bringing about like scientific research, which is more T. So, anyways, I digress. Should just get into the cards here. So ISFJ, let's see what we have here. Sorry, these are taking me a while to get out. Currently have a headache right now, but I'm just trying to fight through it because I think I was having some caffeine withdrawals But now I have my caffeine, so we'll see if this works. So, okay. Um, so defenders, yes. Maybe we feel like every battle isn't an easy one, and it's not something that's ever going to take care of itself. We have to put in the hard work. Ace of Swords reversed. Um, are we open to challenges, specifically with other people? Maybe we're not because we feel so protective and nurturing. You guys are almost like ESFJs in a way, like the mother archetype in a way, but you're just a little more private, not as outgoing. So you'll just know fewer people more intimately, which is cool, just as well as the ESFJ knowing a lot of people. You know, just depends on what your kind of a preference is. So. Already seeing a lot of air energy, so if you have an air sign and you're an ISFJ, it is showing here. So Ace of Swords means maybe you kind of have a little bit of a skeptical nature, like things aren't just going to work out on their own. You know, it's always you're going to have to put the elbow grease into that, and that's okay. I mean, it's partly true, but you know, be open to more um, philosophical, you know, thinking. You know what I mean? Because here we kind of like want to run away from our problems, or we need to kind of get away. So um, the the battles that we retreat from, we just kind of we run the other way. Maybe our instinct in like our fight or flight mode is to fly. You know, it's not to stand and fight. And you know, maybe try the reverse every once in a while. Maybe try. I think as caregivers, we have a hard time putting our ego first, and sometimes it's necessary to do that. So you'll be challenged time and time again in life, if you know what I mean, like whether you can put yourself first or not, whether you can sit on the pedestal that you know you deserve, because it's almost like you guys don't let yourself do that, or you don't even let yourself try to do that. So you can't bend over backwards for everybody all the time. You have to fight your own battles. You know what I mean? That comes first. So similar messages to the ISTJ. They tend to do a lot for other people, um, but you always have to be there for yourself before you can be there for anyone else. So that's just some constant advice I give, that I try to live by more and more each day. And definitely in Scorpio season, which it is now, it's I feel a lot more aggressive, a lot more um, self-aware, or like a little more ambitious in a sense. So I really find in Scorpio season that I'm not really giving people like more than necessary chances or time, or even like kind of forgiveness. I'm just kind of blazing through. So it's a little harsher of a personality, but I think it's more concerned because it just doesn't want to be taken advantage of. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent here. So yeah, so you could feel like you know, you have to escape a lot. Maybe, you know, we're going to an island here. Maybe you guys have a very private inner life that you don't let a lot of people see, or you don't let a lot of people truly into emotionally. Um, you know, or maybe your head can kind of be like kind of like a dangerous place sometimes. You know, it's kind of more escapist tendencies. Maybe you have a lot of you have a hard time like letting go of thoughts. You kind of run away with your thoughts. Maybe that's what we're doing here. That's like literally what that card is, running away with your thoughts. So it's important to be grounded. So it's nice that we got the Hierophant, because this is Taurus, this is Earth energy. So if there's a lot of Taurus signs out here, this is the first actual sign that's presented itself. Same with ISTJs. So you guys have a lot in common. So you are definitely sought out for counsel because you guys are so caring, because you're detail oriented. So there's a need for people to look to you for answers because you're kind of working behind the scenes, taking care of things, and you know what I mean. You know better, so you're very grounded in a sense, even though you have a lot of air. So um, this could mean that you're even a teacher, working in like a church or a university, anything like that, some sort of advisor. Um, so I wouldn't say a counselor necessarily. That's more so the INFJ archetype because they can kind of apply that intuition to any given situation, whereas you guys are more um, what's been brought out through history. It's more historically based as a sentinel, you know. Um, let's see here. Oh wow. Okay, so Taurus and Aries. So you could find either or, but you guys have um, maybe there's a lot of people in high positions as IFJs. I mean, you guys are so common. It can't, it's not unheard of. There's not just one type that we see in every kind of like high position in leadership. But again, this could mean Aries, Taurus. You guys definitely are sought after for counsel, for tactics, for advice. You know what I mean? So, but it's almost like, how do I word this? Maybe you guys don't see yourselves as super powerful. You know what I mean? Maybe you guys have like a sort of a self-sabotage nature. I think it's more so a concept in your mind as opposed to the reality, because reality looks like you guys do pretty well for yourselves. Maybe you find yourself in a position of leadership, um, and yeah, spiritual guidance in a way. Um, you could be quite bossy. Definitely, I think the SJs are quite bossy. They say the SJs are the most common um, combination of letters in the personalities. So ISFJs, I think, are the most common, and then we see ESFJs, the mother archetype, um, ESTJs, ISTJs. So all the Sentinels. The Sentinels is like the bulk of the personality group. So I wouldn't say it's the most fun, but I love my intuitives. But you guys are kind of everywhere, so it's important to know, you know, what you guys are all about because it's the majority. So Five of Pentacles, you guys are you're seemingly very strong 1 minute, and then it's just like the reverse the next card. I don't know. Um, Maybe you guys have a really hard time of letting go of things. And it could be relationship wise, but um, maybe you give more than you're able to. You know what I mean? And I don't want to take this as literally just money. I think this is time as well. This is resources. So a resource could be money, but it could be time. Any sort of investment that you're investing in another person and their situation. I think you guys do it all too often, and it actually gets the best of you. It actually hurts you, and so maybe you feel like you're taken advantage of, but it's because you just can't. You just have a hard time of letting this show almost. You know what I mean? Like it's like you can be really really tough and hard and harsh and warlike, like an Aries, like a Ram, but then you're like so soft and you're like letting people in. Like these cards aren't similar. You know what I mean? Like they're very, very different. Because Taurus is like Venus energy, which is like Libra. It's very people pleasing, and so it doesn't like to offend. It doesn't like to upset or anything. And then Aries is just like out of my way. The Emperor. The Emperor has to, you know, charge through to get to his throne. He's got to cut other people down, and I just don't think that you guys are comfortable with that. So the Emperor could be showing up because we don't really know how to face our challenges almost, or we don't know how to not do something that's in our against our better interests. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you guys have a penchant here for letting in things that aren't really benefiting you. And certainly, if you have a hard time letting go of past loves, that's coming up. It could be with an Aries. Maybe that person is almost like very dominating in a way and doesn't let you let go or doesn't let you leave in a sense. Could be. Death card in reverse. So, ooh. Okay, so we are talking about growth here. You guys don't handle growth well. S's really don't categorically. They're not very flexible in a sense. And so that's why the ISFJ dichotomy is so weird, because it's like you guys do seek to help others and to put others first, but at the same time you're inflexible. So it's like, how do you do that simultaneously? You know what I mean? Because every situation is unique, and so you have to be flexible to be able to. I don't know. You guys tell me how you do it, because I don't understand it. But I have seen it. One of my close friends is an ISFJ, and it does, like, at sometimes, like, she seems interested in some of the more intuitive stuff that I like, but it just never, the way she talks about it and stuff, it just never seems like it fully resonates or she fully gets it. It's almost like she's almost doing it more to kind of keep my interests heightened. You know what I mean? Because they care so much about your investment in the conversation or the dialogue or whatever, that they were willing to look into your interests, even if it's nothing that they could see themselves doing, I feel like. So, death reverse, though. Death reversed. So when it comes to fully transforming, fully moving on, shedding your skin, you guys don't do that. You have a tendency to just stand still. Stand still. Maybe you move in your mind. Your thoughts are a little more transformative, but your actual physical movement, your body, like the place that you live, maybe all that, you stay in the same place for a long amount of time. And I'm not just saying physically, but psychologically, emotionally, you stay in the same place for a long time. So it's important to be able to transform, to be able to change things from time to time, to be able to adapt, because you're selling yourself short if you don't take a chance every once in a while. So I think the focus sometimes need to be turned back. Turn that camera back on yourself. Put it back into selfie mode. Okay. I know we don't like that, ISFJ, but selfie mode exists for a reason. So you just have to be able to do that from time to time, because once the selfie looks good, then you can start appreciating everything else that looks good. You know what I mean? But if you're just constantly distracting yourself with other people's images, it's never going to feel as fulfilling. No matter how altruistic you guys are, which you are. So let's see. So introverted sensing is a first. So extroverted feeling is a second function. Third function is introverted thinking. And the fourth and the weakest, the fourth function is always your weakest function, is extroverted intuition. So when it comes to, that kind of stems back to that example I was telling about, like, her trying to be interested in everything that I am and all of that, which is more intuitive stuff, but it didn't come across as very fluid. It didn't come across as like something that it was natural for her. You know what I mean? So if you're watching this video, you know who you are. So I'm just going to point out this example because it was just kind of funny. So we go to a metaphysical shop with my ISFJ friend, and she was really interested in starting a crystal collection because I've had mine for a while. Mine's not very substantial, but I have a few, and I've talked about them before. I think on my first set of videos on here, I had different crystals featured just for recommendations of different signs, but we go to this metaphysical shop, and they've got such a wide variety, and she starts to literally, like, pick up, like, I don't know, like, close to 30 different ones by the end of it, and I'm just like, I've never bought, like, more than 4 at a time just because they add up really well, and she was buying some pretty pricey ones, but she had some good reasons for doing it. She was trying some different therapies and things, and but it was just like, I was just like, go with your instinct, okay? Go to the ones that you're drawn to, and I could just kind of tell, like, she didn't really know what I meant by that. You know what I mean? And that's intuition. That's just like connecting something seamless into existence. It's almost like, you know what I mean? Like, manifesting is a big concept for intuitives, and you know, being drawn to things that you can't explain is like second nature to us. That's kind of how we go about things. We don't know where this stuff comes from. It just, like, woo, you know, we just get this, like, alert signal, and it's just like, watch out. And I'm like, okay, you know, but I never know where it comes from, somewhere out in space. Um, but yeah, but she was just like going around, and she would study them really closely and stuff, and I'm just, when I pick up one, it's like, it's literally like shining at me, you know what I mean? Like, it's like looking at me in the face, and I can't ignore it. Like, that's my intuition, and hers is more so observing all of the different ones, because that's like, yeah, so I don't know if that helps, but I guess that's more so the difference between S and N. It's more so like taking a practical kind of approach to things. Ooh, okay. Ooh. ISFJ. Wow, we got, yikes. 3 of, like, the worst cards in the deck. Back to back to back. Yikes. Okay. So, you guys have a hell of a lot of challenges. You know, and I think because you guys resist transforming, you resist shedding your skin and starting a new chapter, the universe is like, well, you're going to do it whether you like it or not, kind of a thing. So the tower comes up as like, there's no way back. You know what I mean? Like, it fully destroys what's currently in existence. So it looks like you guys need that nudge sometimes, because you just don't want to budge. I mean, look at these 2 guys here. They do not. They like where they're at. You know what I mean? They're not going to budge, especially not the Emperor. So you guys can be very hard to, like, push in a direction or anything. And I did type you when I was doing the sign videos as Virgo, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if there's one sign you just cannot push into doing something, it's a freaking Virgo. You just can't. It's like brick wall. But we haven't seen Virgo energy here yet. So far we've seen Taurus, Aries, and Scorpio maybe. But yeah, the tower, it looks like it's almost necessary for you guys. So you guys are really going to see some tough relationships, ups and downs, and it's going to be connected to your finances. And tower is just coming out of nowhere. All of a sudden, everything comes crumbling. So you guys get like these intense moments of like realizations, or you know, where like you're having like this movie kind of scene happening. It's like watching a car wreck. It's like all in slow motion kind of a thing. Like, that's tower energy. It's something like, it's just so surreal, like you don't even believe it, and it's like happening right in front of you. Like, you guys will have that in your life, and it's like, it's the universe is kind of like telling you, like, wake up. You know what I mean? Like, you have to change. You have to do this, otherwise you're gonna keep holding yourself back again and again. because you guys really, you just can't be pushed or kind of like appeal to do something that's in your best interest almost. So stubborn. So, but yeah, I mean, if you guys have experienced like divorce, that's coming up. You know, faithfulness is a big deal for you guys, being devoted to people, whether it's your lover or not. But definitely devotion is a big theme here because we're seeing all these relationship cards and we got the Hierophant, which is devotion. It's more of a spiritual devotion, but in this context, it's in a relationship. Oof, God, you guys, oof. So the majority of the population has like a lot of hurt, but this I think is self-inflicted. You know, these swords are just not nice. You guys, you know, the mind can be quite a dangerous place, especially when you're not living your truth. And not to say that you guys are liars, because I don't see that. I don't think that you guys are liars, but I think you just, if you're always putting other people first, you're getting farther and farther away from your own path, and you're going to hurt yourself more and more and more. And so you have the ability to take those swords out, no matter how painful it can be, because it is painful to leave things behind, but if they just keep hurting you again and again, if you never clean your wounds, they'll never heal. You know what I mean? If you just keep ignoring it, if you just keep picking up the scabs, you're just giving it more attention, more power, and it's like you have to be able to let things go. And yeah, it's just like you guys aren't. It's tough stuff. I wasn't expecting this, ISFJ. I thought we were have some smooth sailing here. ISFJ. Maybe we'll get like one more card. Probably keep it right at like 30. So even though you guys are pretty smart, you're introverted. They usually say introverts are a little more perceptive because it's not so much about the connection, it's more about the internal process. So there's a lot going on internally. That's usually why we see more swords, introversion, and then judging. So judging means you're more critical, you're more detail-oriented, you're more precise or picky. So you have a lot, you're more selective. It's a better term, I guess. So you pick who has those swords in you, whether it's one person or three. You know what I mean? You've picked them, so it's kind of your own fault, and it's your own fault if you're not willing to, you know what I mean? Leave what's hurting you behind. So maybe that's why we got this combination at the beginning, because. You know what I mean? I think you guys don't want to leave things that are hurting you behind because you'll feel defeated. Like, maybe if I could have just done that one thing, I would have saved it or whatever. And I'm just like, you get to a point in every relationship where you just, you know, it's past its prime. You know what I mean? It's reached its peak. It's never going to get better. And you just have to save yourself. And I'm sure you guys have told that to other people before, but you have to apply it to your own life. You know? You have to look out for you first. And that's okay. Don't think of that as selfish. Think of that as self-preservation, you know? Especially you medical folks. How important is health to you? Like your own personal health. You know, you can't be hypocritical if you're taking care of other people all the time and you have no time for yourself. Sorry, Scorpio season, I have a lot of, like, strong advice for people during this season. I'm not really holding back. Alright, one more card, ISFJ. Let's end it on a positive note, please. Nice card, please. Nice card. maybe you guys feel the need to take care of people a lot because you've had so much hurt in your own life. Um, but it just seems like it's more distracting energy. It's distracting you from dealing with your own things. You know, and I have this theory, I say this about people all the time because I work in retail, and people constantly, like, will just give you shit for nothing. Like, 25-cent coupon, or they just can't drop their principles, like that S personality. They're just like, well, this just isn't how it's supposed to be, or da-da-da-da. I'm just like, we'll deal with it. Okay. So before, let me finish this. But I'm just constantly like, shit, where was I going with this? That card distracted me. Um, oh, okay, I got it. Okay. So it's like people are because they're not dealing with the things that are truly holding them back in their life, like the bigger stuff. They will start to take that frustration and anger out in small doses in other ways that is really not helpful at all. And so one of the ways is like in your daily interaction with strangers. Whether you're going to stores, you're shopping and stuff, you give your anger and you project it onto other people, in ego-driven situations. And so maybe that's what we're seeing here too, because you guys just can't seem to take care of the big stuff sometimes. It seems like it's a struggle, which it's big stuff for a reason. It is a struggle. Um, but you have to channel that anger and make it something where it's benefiting you. Channel it into the right medium into your life that's going to affect change. Handle your shit. So that's basically my advice. If you're one of those people that kind of like passive aggressively or just full on aggressively, just kind of gives people, that kind of energy unnecessarily in little instances, and that's because you're not dealing with things kind of like in a healthy way. You know what I mean? So I think maybe that's what we're seeing here, and I'm just thinking because I see it so often, I feel like it's a majority personality type. So it's maybe one of the sentinels because you guys make up the bulk of it. Last card. So last card for a reason. This is, I mean, you can't go further than this. And then the death card and the tower. You guys are all about endings. So, but it's like you just don't want the end to come. You don't want, change is hard, but, we all have to be open to it at some point, even though you guys just really, really aren't. You have got to start learning how to let go of things. Try it on a small level. Try, changing a routine, like doing things a different way, like, you know what I mean? Like, removing a friend from Facebook that you haven't talked to in years that you can foresee yourself never talking to again. Try it like in little doses and work up to the stuff that's really going to help you along. You know what I mean? Don't just pick the biggest, hardest, scariest thing at first to do, especially if you guys aren't, that's just going to just further push you back into your shell. You know what I mean? Try to you kind of have to like use reverse psychology on yourself in ways. I do it to myself. I have to like trick my mind sometimes because the mind is a very powerful weapon. Very powerful. Maybe you guys feel like it has too much power over you. And you do have to like reverse psychology it sometimes. You have to like make it think that you want it to do something or da 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 da. So look into that, see if that could maybe benefit you guys and make things a little easier, because this is really, really strong, hard energy. And if this is what the majority of the ISFJs are going through, I really feel for you guys because this is really, really rough reading. But you guys are very strong. I mean, you'll deal with it. It's never going to. I don't think it's going to kill you. Even if it tries to, it's not going to kill you because you just will just keep hanging on. Um, Trying to think of like maybe an animal analogy or something. It's like, oh, it's like a lizard. Like a lizard, like when you chop off its tail, it still keeps going. You know what I mean? It's like a whole part of its body is missing, and it's just it keeps on going. Or sometimes like when you cut the head off of a chicken, I know that's really graphic, but it will still the rest of its body is still moving or whatever for a while. It's like that's what it is with you guys. You guys just really don't call it quits. Um, yeah. So, um, anyways, interesting reading. Comment, message me if you have any questions or you need some further insights. I can do personal readings. Those are very fun. I've enjoyed the couple that I've done so far. I can do it through Skype or even FaceTime if you prefer that, or just good old-fashioned phone calls. So hit me up if you want some more insights about whether this is your MBTI type or just your own personal reading through tarot. Just let me know. I'll let you know my rates and like what time slots are available. It's a lot of fun. So um, until next time, till Sag season, you guys take care and start dealing with some of this.